It's no secret that I unironically love Dragon Ball Super. I've spent 2 videos at this point defending the series to some extent, and though I'd like for the topic to perish on this channel, it seems as though it will be revitalized after every extended break from YouTube that I take. Why is this the case? Evidently there are a lot of complaints about the series, and I don't feel as though I've done a great job addressing them yet. While my videos were indeed defending the show, and more so just trying to give a different perspective and take on the series, I feel as though those videos were too long and weren't truly focused. So in this new series of videos, I want to spend time talking about Dragon Ball Super, but this time I want to directly address the people that hate the show, and give an overall analysis of the show. Bear in mind, this is not a video series where I'm going to call anybody out, nor is this an attack on people that dislike the series. If you dislike Dragon Ball Super, that's fine, and it's not my desired mission to make you like it. Although, I feel that some complaints need to be addressed. Maybe there are fans of Dragon Ball who haven't watched Super because of its polarizing reception, and I want to give the positive side of the coin, though these videos will contain heavy spoilers because otherwise this discussion would kind of be moot. Also, I'll be trying my best to not bring up debates about the canon, as that's an entirely different series in itself in terms of discussions. So I'll be directly addressing complaints that I've seen and giving my rebuttals against them, all while giving an analysis on the series that not many others may give. This is all my opinion, obviously, and it's all subjective. So I'm not stating that any of this is fact, nor am I creating these videos to start wars and heated battles. Also, I am no expert at anything, and I don't want anyone to assume that I think I know everything, because I don't. Nobody does. These are simply to give you all my perspective on why I enjoy the arcs, and giving my defenses on them. With that disclaimer out of the way, today I would like to start addressing the Battle of Gods arc, and basically just give an introduction to this whole series in general, on the premiere of my first actual series on this channel, a Dragon Ball Super Fanboy Speaks Out. I really hope I don't have to explain that that's ironic. Right off the bat, we're greeted with a brand new opening, Shozet's Dynamic, performed by Kazuya Yoshi. The lyrics themselves all relate to the idea that a brand new world of Dragon Ball is about to emerge. Lyrics such as "Let's start the continuation of the dream that was once interrupted" implore fans to embrace the new chapter of a franchise that many thought would be long gone. The opening itself shifts from familial moments into a fun but simplistic action sequence that doesn't take itself too seriously or try to give an impression of impending action in every single episode. The last frames shift from giving us glimpses of the Super Saiyan God transformation to an entire group photo. My only real issue with this opening is that the last shots of animation seem a bit lazy to me, to just let the characters float in onto this backdrop as if it's a Life Touch prestige picture with a green screen on. Even still, the new opening has a fairly upbeat song with a catchy tune and a look at some new characters to be revealed later on. First off, let's talk about when Dragon Ball Super actually takes place. The narrator describes the time, saying that 6 months later the power of the Dragon Ball had erased Majin Buu from people's memory. A few months rolled by. So we know immediately that this is more than 6 months after Kid Buu's defeat, but probably less than 12 months, because otherwise I feel that the narrator would have just said an entire year went by. Some people claim that Super fits nowhere in the timeline, but judging from this, it does line up that this is within the 10-year time gap from the defeat of Kid Buu to the start of the 28th World Martial Arts Tournament. That being said, it definitely fits into the timeline. Also, a few people claim that Super forgot about certain characters, listing Oob as one of the forgotten characters. Oob has literally been mentioned at least twice as of episode 93, which is the episode that I've seen before typing all of this out, and he's not fighting because he's way too young at the moment. Probably still a toddler, and that's me giving a generous estimate. But again, I digress. Bear in mind also that this is the first arc of a brand new anime series, thus it isn't going to be 100% intense all the time. Anyways, there are some people that I know that haven't really watched Dragon Ball since its original anime GT, and after 18 years, Super does a pretty good job of catching fans back up with the series' lore and characters. Speaking of characters, as early as 6 minutes into episode 1, we are reintroduced to Beerus, the destroyer deity of Universe 7. As you will probably know, I'm saying reintroduced because this arc is a somewhat rehash of the 2013 film Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. Going off of my point from earlier, many fans haven't seen Battle of Gods, nor did they even know it happened. That may sound insane to us, but only about 3 of every 10 friends of mine that watch Dragon Ball, including some relatives of mine that are way older than me that have watched it, knew that Battle of Gods and Resurrection F even happened. Remember that just because we keep up with Super and the latest news, that doesn't mean that everybody else does. While I feel Toei could have started with episode 30, that being the recap episode, I don't hate the fact that they decided to make these movies into arcs, and there will be more on that later on. So back on to Beerus, he's of course shown to be a very petty god of destruction, probably more so than in the movie. The fact that he states he'll only destroy half of the planet for its cuisine having too much fat shows that he's indeed an Epicurean, perhaps to an insane degree. Whis immediately shows his contrast in this character trait with his polite and mild-mannered questioning of Beerus' decision, as well as critiquing his lackluster manners. I do want to take a moment and talk about Sumitomo's music for Super. I like it, even Omen to Victory. I can't really make a defensive case here because in the end, music is all subjective per the listener. I simply feel the music fits the tone of Dragon Ball, and Sumitomo was able to do that masterfully in my opinion. In all honesty, he's probably my favorite composer in the franchise's long history. Same thing for the overall art style. I know that not many people like Yamamuro, and while I do agree that his older designs from Z are a lot more defined, I do definitely enjoy the art style of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball a lot better than in Super. I still don't find Yamamuro's modern designs intolerable like many people do. As for the overall look of the show otherwise, I like how it looks. Like the opening, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think that's a good thing. Even the Kai clips I feel make it more immersive to longtime fans, but I know I'm a minority in that opinion. I only want to mention that here because I know people will bring it up later. But those are my thoughts on those things, so let's get back to the art. Around the 11-minute mark in episode 1, there's a small exchange between Gohan and Videl, as well as Stalker Piccolo. Yes, Gohan is a scholar now. No, he doesn't prioritize fighting anymore. People like to blame Chi-Chi for why he only pursues his studies nowadays, but Gohan found a genuine interest in it. Am I the only one that feels that a character can be their own person? If Gohan was a fighter just as punch-minded as Goku, there would be barely any diversity in the personalities of Dragon Ball Super. I love how Gohan is so concerned with the fact that he can't buy Videl a whole bunch of nice things, and Videl basically reassuring him that materialistic things aren't the important thing to her, but rather that he pursues his studies and pursues his dreams. This doesn't mark Videl's fall from relevance, but rather showing the fruition of the character she was beginning to become from early in the Buu arc. Videl and Gohan are inseparable, and I love that. Off of that, though, I want to take a moment and talk about Goten and Trunks. It's true, these two have not visibly grown much, but they are still growing as characters. Even in the first episode, they're actively trying to find a gift for Videl, something selfless that I wouldn't really expect Trunks to care about, especially since it has nothing directly to do with his family or himself personally. There are more examples of their growth, but I'll discuss more of those and more in detail about characterization later on in future videos. I know that I'm going really in depth for episode 1, but usually I'll try to be really deep in analysis for the first episode of each respective arc, and then jump around a bit more from there. Hence, this is the part where I jump around a lot more. Episode 2 is basically our Vegeta-centric episode. It was nice seeing King Kai make some terrible puns again, as well as some classic eating scenes that are definitely true to Dragon Ball comedy in general. I do want to address something here as well, very briefly, the quote-unquote pandering that the series does in these early episodes. I think it's perfectly acceptable, in my opinion, and the nonchalant atmosphere of these episodes excellently contrasts with the impending threat that is Beerus' Destroyer. The small exchange between King Kai and Goku around the 5-minute mark of the second episode, especially Goku's reaction to King Kai saying that he is much greater than a god, with Goku just basically walking away and not caring, shows that Goku himself is completely unaware, unconcerned, and an abandon of what he's in for. Remember at this point, the characters that knew nothing of the increasing god hierarchy, like us viewers before Battle of Gods in 2013, probably felt that Goku was the strongest in the universe. What would you realistically need to worry about if you're number one in the universe itself? Oh, how wrong they were. Vegeta, on the other hand, is completely different in a, different way. Some people claim that these episodes show that he's actually lost his character development from Z, but in my humble opinion, that's not true at all. In the actual manga, he states that Goku is the strongest Saiyan he's ever met. He is aware of that and acknowledges it. I will say the manga panel seen here is not the Viz translation. I had to find a screenshot and it was just, I was trying to find my manga, but it still basically means the same thing as him saying, "You were the best, Kakarot." Now, in episode 2 of Super, he says the same thing while training, literally saying, Kakarot, the strongest Saiyan I've avowed. He is clearly admitting, again, that Goku is the strongest. However, acceptance does not always mean satisfaction. Vegeta is aware that Goku is the strongest, but he knows now that that fact must propel him to push higher. What, do people think he was just going to stop fighting altogether? He's made similar vows before and he didn't follow them just because of his fighting spirit. We know that no matter how humble and content Vegeta may seem, he has a hidden drive to become as strong as he possibly can become. And even though he admitted that Goku is the strongest Saiyan, that doesn't mean that he necessarily wants it that way. This isn't character regression, this is simply restating the Vegeta character that we know already atop of his newfound development near the end of the Buu arc. However, for now, that's where I'll conclude. I don't want these episodes to be terribly long, and I know that there was a lot of introductory stuff here for this new series, but what did I say earlier about the first episode of something? Let me know what you guys think of this new series down below in the comments, and drop a like if you enjoyed and want to see this series continue. Share this around with everyone that you know, and last but not least, hit that subscribe button for more intermittent content. I'll eventually cover other topics outside of the arc-by-arc analysis, such as Goku's characterization, power scaling, etc. But for now, I'm just going to go arc by arc. Expect other videos in between the series as well that have nothing to do with it. I don't want to be terribly repetitive. Next time, we'll try to cover the rest of the Battle of Gods arc, since the rest is fairly easy to cover, including episode 5, of course. So with that being said, stay tuned, and I hope you all have an amazing day. God bless.